Hello, everyone, and good morning. Welcome back to the StarCityGames.com Season Invitational here in Columbus, Ohio. Cedric Phillips, Patrick Sullivan. We are in store for a nice little day here.
We have our top 8 of our Season 2 Invitational, and even though it was 663 players, our largest invitational of all time, still a star-studded top 8.
So we have 8 players. We're going to do some player interviews with Nick Miller and Ken Crocker on the sideboard. So each of you at home become a little bit more familiar with our 8 players. And our number 8 overall seed, an interesting situation here for Richard Adams. You know, the only person who's playing, I would say, the least established deck in the top 8 in Merfolk.
Well, it is a deck that you see occasionally on Magic Online. It has had some Grand Prix results, but it's definitely an outside-the-box, a little under-the-radar modern deck. That said, the density of cheap lords, you have Spreading Seas to capitalize on some very sensitive modern mana bases. Yep. It's a potent deck, even though it's not one of the 5 or 6 most played decks in the format.
Well, he is in the sideboard with Ken Crocker right now, and we'll let him do the talking so you can learn more about him. Ken, Richard, take it away.
Hello and welcome to the sideboard for the first of our top 8 invitational interviews. I'm Ken Crocker, here with Richard Adams.
Hey
Richard,
guys.
how you doing?
I'm fantastic.
All right, Richard, you played Merfolk and Mardu Dragons,
Yep.
respectively, in the invitational. Why did you choose those decks for this particular tournament?
Well, Stormbreath Dragon is a magic card.
It's a very good magic
and
card.
it doesn't die to a lot of non-hero downfall ultimate price spells.
Fair enough.
And it kills people very quickly. Also, Crackling Doom is a good magic card.
Those are good reasons.
Yeah, there are plenty of play to the Mardu Dragons deck. That's why I chose it for standard. And Merfolk is exceptionally consistent and aggressive, and I, in a big tournament, don't want to get color screwed or not be able to play my spells.
Fair enough. So in the quarterfinals, your matchup is against our first seed, Christopher OBrien, who's on Tron.
Yep.
How do you feel about that matchup?
I feel it's a close matchup. I think that he and I have a lot of play, and it's going to come down to how aggressive I get to be, because he has a lot of ways to interact with me, and he can just kill me. Like, Tron can just get the draw of turn 3 Karn, you lose.
Well, if you get past the quarterfinals and you win this whole thing, you get a token made of your likeness.
Yes.
So what token are you going to make?
It's going to be a Master of Waves token.
So an elemental?
It's going to be a purple-haired 1/0 elemental token.
Well, I wish you the best of luck in your games. Thanks for the interview.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're going to cut over to Nick, who's with our 7th seed, Kyle Bogas.
Hi guys, welcome back. I'm Nick Miller alongside our number 7 seed, Kyle Bogas. How you doing, sir?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good. It's good to see you. We've seen you on the Pro Tour scene, we've seen you on the GP scene when in Cincinnati. Now you've been gracing us on the Open Series. Pretty nice run here at the Invitational. How are you feeling about your quarterfinal matchup here with Grixis Twin versus Jund?
Well, I played it like 3 times during the modern portion, and I went 2-1, but all 3 matchups felt really close.
Really? Is this a deck you're familiar with?
The Jund deck?
The Grixis Twin deck.
Grixis Twin, this is like my 3rd tournament with it. I just kind of started testing for modern for this tournament in particular.
Okay. How's it felt for you this weekend?
Well, all I want to do is play blue cards, so like Serum Vision, Snapcaster Mage, very consistent. So, you know, this is exactly what I want to be doing.
Excellent. Your standard deck, Esper Dragons. We've seen you play Esper decks of different varieties, blue-black decks at the Pro Tour, at the GP. Just what you're used to?
Yep. Yeah, the exact 60 I won a PPTQ with about a month ago, and you know, even though it's a month old, I'd still really like the 60.
Now, when you guys got paired up and the bracket was formed, you and Josh were talking like, oh, of course we have to play each other here in the quarterfinals. It's kind of our marquee matchup in the top 8. What do you think?
Well, Josh's really good, so it's going to be a tough match. You know, I've known him for a while. We've, you know, traveled to tournaments, you know, a couple times, like back in the day. So, yeah, it's going to be tough, which is really bad because it's a close matchup.
Sure. All right, well, if you win the whole thing, $10,000 an invite to the Players' Championship, and a token. Do you have any ideas what you would choose for your token?
I was thinking Deceiver Exarch because that's the only token that I've actually played in this tournament so far. Deceiver Exarch and Pestermite.
All right. Maybe you have the possibility to just throw about 50 of them on the board when you got the combo.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
All right. Well, I wish you the best luck here in your top 8. I'm going to send it back over to Ken, who's with our number 6 seed, Tarek Patel.
Hello, welcome back for the interviews. I'm Ken Crocker here with Tarek Patel, our 6th seed. How you doing, Tarek?
Good, how are you?
All right, Tarek, you played Green Red Devotion in Standard, and you played Amulet Bloom Combo in Modern. So why did you pick those decks for this particular tournament?
Well, starting with Standard, the format leading up to GP Toronto was primarily control decks. The format shifted to primarily mid-range green decks to beat it. Once that became the norm, everybody was on green-based mid-range decks. I expected more of that here. So my first choice was actually Bant Heroic, but with Thoughtseize where it is and Deathmist Raptors running everywhere, I didn't think it would be as good of a choice. Well, it tested not as good as it was previous, like at the start of the format.
Sure.
So Green Red Devotion, I tried out, and it just crushed every deck that wasn't control. And at worst, it was like a coin flip versus control, so it was just an amazing deck choice of the weekend. And I think most people figured that out. Like, it doesn't surprise me that CVM and like I think several other of the top 8 competitors were all running Green Red Devotion as well. For Modern, Modern's actually a format that I hate. I played it about 3 times a year, maybe, only when I have to. It's a very coin flippy format. Most people who have tried to study it and break it more or less come to this realization unless they play Twin. But a good friend of mine, talking about Bloom, he's been on Bloom for a while, and I have to agree with him. 90% of the meta, you're just extremely favored, and then the 10% that is Twin, you can still nut combo them. You know, you have a chance of just winning on spot. So felt like a powerful deck. So.
Well, speaking of Bloom, in the quarterfinals, you face our 3rd seed, CVM, who's also on Amulet Bloom.
Yeah.
So how comfortable are you with the mirror match, and how do you think those games are going to play out?
I think both of us kind of know it's kind of a coin flip going in. I'm not sure if he got enough testing in versus the mirror match in general last night. I don't know if he knows anybody who plays it. I played CVM earlier in the Swiss rounds yesterday, and I think we both kind of made some tactical errors more or less going in because I don't think either of us were really familiar with it. But going forward, I got some testing done last night. I know what I need to do. So it usually comes down to who is able to resolve the first Primeval Titan and lock the other person out of the game. So I'm definitely not looking forward to it, but it is what it is.
Well, if you do get past CVM and you win the whole thing, you get a token made in your likeness.
Yeah.
So what token are we going to be?
I really wanted to say Squid, but after thinking about it, I think I'll do a Spirit token.
Fair enough.
To the disappointment of my friends. So.
Well, I mean, it's your
No
token.
Squid for me, yeah.
So, well, good luck with your matches.
Thank you, man.
You guys head over on to Nick Miller, and he's here with our 5th seed, Ali Antrazi.
Hello, welcome back. Nick Miller alongside our 5th seed, Ali Antrazi. How you doing, sir?
Hey, good. How are you?
Pretty good. Now, we've seen you on the Open Series a long time, and you've recently come back, and you've been on a pretty good tear, brewing it up. You got a nice standard deck with the Naya Dragons deck, but we're here for a Modern top 8.
Yes.
So we want to talk about your Modern choice, Green Red Tron. How'd you come to that, and how did it feel this tournament?
It's a very powerful deck. I think it's just very favored right now. It usually beats up on all the green black X decks and all the company decks. Like your worst matchups are Deceiver Exarch Twin usually, but luckily Jund is keeping that deck in check with the replicates and stuff. So I feel like it's a very good choice this weekend.
So you went X2 in the Modern portion of this tournament. You know, did it feel good all weekend? Have you done any changes? We've seen people try out the full 4 Ugin builds, you know, not going to O-Stone, but you got some of the O-Stone action.
Yeah, I tried the 4 Ugin build. I think that's incorrect. I think that's too much. O-Stone is so good against Affinity, where Ugin is not. Sometimes you don't get Tron, and O-Stone still does work. The only thing I've changed is the sideboard a little bit because I wanted to edge against Bloom and the mirror match. So I have Crucible Worlds and a third Ghost Quarter.
Pretty powerful.
Yeah.
All right, so your quarterfinal matchup here is against JB Milo playing the Abzan Collected Company deck. How do you feel that matchup is? I know I've talked to your friends. You guys were testing a whole bunch last night.
Yeah, game 1, I am very favored. But again, games 2 and 3, actually, you think I'm still favored, but he has a way better matchup with Forge Tender and Thoughtseizes. Because Forge Tender can just lets him swarm, and I can pyroclasm him. I think like hopefully, but also I'm a slave to my deck. Like I'm a slave to the top deck usually.
Right.
I can't like manipulate like he can.
Sure.
So if I feel like if I get good hands, I'm fine. But if I mulligan like too much, I'll probably lose. But overall, I believe I'm favored in the matchup.
Okay. Well, winning this whole thing would mean $10,000, invite to the Players' Championship, but most importantly, the token.
I know, right?
Have you put a lot of thought into what you would be?
I'm gonna be probably a Cauldron token.
Ooh,
Yeah, assemble Tron.
I like it.
Kind of, right?
All right, well, I wish you the best of luck here in the top 8. I'm going to send it back over in the sideboard to Ken, who's with our number 4 seed, JB Milo.
Hello and welcome back to another Top 8 interview. I'm Ken Crocker here with JB Milo. JB, good morning.
Good morning.
So JB, you get to play, you played Green Red Devotion in Standard, and you played OBrien Company in Modern.
Correct.
So why did you choose those decks for this particular event?
All right, so as for Standard, I was testing a lot of decks, but I was like, my win rate was like not amazing. It was like maybe 55%, something I wasn't satisfied with. I tried at my friend's recommendation, I tried Green Red Devotion, which really impressed me.
Sure.
It beat a lot of matchups besides Control, and I wasn't really expecting Esper Dragons to be too big. And the innovation of some French guy playing CD Unwritten in the main deck really impressed me against the other green decks. And yeah.
It's pretty good. And OBrien Company?
I was on Company. I don't really play Modern that much, so I was on the intention of playing Infinity until another friend convinced me to play OBrien Company. And like OBrien or Collected Company and like Season Written are like the same card. One's like a bigger Collected Company, so it's like I'm playing in both formats.
Fair enough. So in the quarterfinals, you play against Alion Trazi, who's on Green Red Tron.
Correct.
So how do you like that matchup going in?
I don't think anybody's favoring me to win or take games off of him. I expect Ali to 3-0 me pretty like soundly. Probably not going to be on camera. He's favored like 95% of the matchup to my 5, but maybe a miracle happens.
I mean, you're here to play the games, right?
I am. That's why we play them out.
All right, fair enough. And if you do get past the quarterfinals
Right.
and you win this whole thing,
Another Tron player.
Player,
All right.
maybe, you get a token made of you and your likeness. So
Okay.
exactly what token are we going to have?
All right, so a friend asked me this a while ago as a joke, but what I decided with is Nahiri, the Lithomancer's ultimate, makes a equipment, a Stoneforge blade, and I want my token to be in that likeness.
So we're going to have the Stoneforge Commander Blade.
And no one's going to use it.
All right, JB. Well, best of luck in your
All right,
rounds,
thank
man.
you.
Appreciate it. All right, we're going to cut over to Nick Miller, who's with our 3rd seed, Christopher Van Meter.
Welcome back. I'm Nick Miller alongside our number 3 seed, Chris Van Meter. How you doing, sir?
Pretty good. About yourself?
Great. It's good to see you here in an invitational top 8. You've been trying for a long time.
Yeah.
You've just got so many top 8s, so many wins on the series. But here you are, first Envy top 8. How you feeling?
Feeling great. Like you said, it's been a long time coming. It didn't really hit me until late last night that I finally accomplished one of these goals that I set for myself at the beginning of every year. And at this point, I'm just kind of cool, calm, collected, just ready to battle some Magic, just like I always do.
Talk about your deck choices for the weekend. You seem to be on point in terms of where you want to be. I mean, we see 4 Green Red Devotion decks that made the top 8 for Standard. You're, of course, one of them. But also Amulet Bloom had a great performance this weekend, another deck you've been championing.
Yeah, I've been on Bloom for a while. I made the choice a couple months back that I was just going to pick up the deck and start learning it. I felt like it was one of the few decks in Modern that would really reward you for learning all the nuances of the deck. It's a challenging deck. Not a lot of people know how to play against it, and if you know everything your deck can do at every point, then you can leverage that. And I really like that about the deck. Plus, it might have some bad matchups or some cards that are rough against it.
Sure.
But like Sam Black said in his article this week, you can actually just kill your opponent on turn 2. So any bad matchup is still winnable.
Yeah, not that bad. Now, of course, your quarterfinal matchup is a Amulet Bloom Mirror against Tarek Patel.
Yep.
You played him yesterday in the final round of Modern, and he got the best of you as the only 8-0 in Modern. But you get a rematch with him here in the top 8. How do you feel it's going to go?
Well, I think that the matchup is pretty much a coin flip, with the slight edge being to whoever gets to be on the play. So thankfully, I feel like I have a slight edge since I'm the higher seed. But again, anything can happen. In our first game, I had a turn 3 Hive Mind kill, and he mulliganed to 5, but he was able to put a Titan into play on turn 2, attack with it, and then have the mana to pay for his Pact of Negation on my Hive Mind to be able to take the game. So, you know, anything can happen. Post-board games get a little different since we have Ghost Quarter to try and interact with each other, some type of artifact destruction. Like I have Sealed Primordium, he has Ratchet Bomb, so like ways to actually handle an Amulet of Vigor. So I think post-board it just comes down to whoever can put the first Removal Titan in play is going to end up winning the long game. So that's the plan.
Yeah, it was a very interesting match. You know, we don't see too many of those mirrors, but, you know, game 1 was super explosive. Game 2 was like a grindy, you know, guys were both like positioning your Ghost Quarters, trying to figure out when the right time is to play your spells. It was very interesting. So I think the best 3 out of 5 will be pretty great. Now, if you win the event, $10,000, invite to the Players' Championship, which you got to play in last year, but most importantly, a token. Have you put any thought into it?
Well, it'll be my second token, which is pretty sweet. I've been trying to think of some way to incorporate pugs into the token, since my girlfriend has 2 pugs and I'm just in love with the dogs. But currently the 2 front runners are either an 0-1 plant token from Colony Garden or a Xenagos Satyr token, since I have been on Xenagos for quite some time and he's done me well.
He sure has. Well, I wish you the best of luck in your top 8. I'm going to send it over to Ken in the sideboard, who's with our number 2 seed, Joshua Ravis.
Hello, welcome to another interview here for the Invitational Top 8. I'm Crocker here with Josh Ravis. Josh, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
Good, thanks.
All right, Josh. So in the standard portion, you played Abzan Megamorph.
Yep.
And in the modern portion, you played Jund.
Yep.
So why exactly did you pick those decks for this event?
I wanted to play Thoughtseize first and foremost, and in standard, Den Protector and Siege Rhino were both high priorities for me.
Sure. Powerful cards?
Having a strong control matchup was also important. I think control is usually overrepresented at invitationals, so I played against 4 Esper decks in the 8 rounds, and I beat 3 of them, so that was good. Yeah.
Feels good.
Feels good. Good to get rewarded for that.
Yeah.
In Modern, talked to Reed, talked to Jerry, didn't like anything. Went with what I knew, so kind of
picked good cards.
Built my own sideboard. The main deck is a couple cards off. It is what it is, you know.
Yeah, fair enough. So in the quarterfinals, you're going to be facing Kyle Bogamies, who's on Grixis Twin.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about that matchup going in?
On paper, the matchup's pretty close, but Kyle's definitely a good player, and got to respect him. Hopefully he doesn't turn for me. And I think with his build, the later the game goes, the better I'm going to do. So, you know, I might take some mulligans and try to not die.
And then if you do get past Kyle and you win the whole thing, you get a token made of your image. So what token can we expect from you?
Wolf token, 2/2 Wolf, green, Unmaster.
You making sure John Finkel's not blocking it? Is that the...
I might give a few to John, but I was really impressed with Unmaster this weekend.
Okay.
And I could see it getting some play in the future. So.
All right. Well, good luck with your quarters. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Now we're going to cut over to Nick Miller, who's with our first seed, Christopher OBrien.
Welcome back. I'm Nick Miller here with our number 1 seed, Chris O'Brien. How you doing, sir?
Good.
You are here in the top 8, the number 1 seed. You played green-red in both formats, one of many people on Devotion, but the second player on Tron. Talk about your conclusions coming to this deck for this tournament.
I chose Tron because I put a lot of people on fair, grindy decks, just trying to take advantage of outplaying their opponents. So it's like Tron just goes over the top of all of them and wins the game.
Sure. Now, you went 7-1 with Tron. Great tournament with it. You got an interesting matchup here in the top 8. We don't see a lot of Merfolk, but you're paired against it, you know, in the top 8. How do you feel this matchup's going to go?
I think it's going to be really close. Like, he can actually put pressure on me while disrupting my lands, so I just need to play an O-Stone and clear the board out with that.
Now, are you feared of anything? Are you feared of more like just a ton of creatures? Or are you feared of just like spreading seas, a bunch of stuff?
I'm more afraid of when he's just attacking with a bunch of creatures, because then I'm on a clock.
Sure. All right. Well, you're here in the top 8. There's a bunch up for the grabs. $10,000 for first prize. Invite to the Players' Championship if you win. Have you put any thought into what your token would be if you take it all down?
I was thinking a 3/3 worm.
3/3 worm?
For the worm coils.
Seems fitting. All right. Well, we wish you the best luck in your top 8. We're going to be back after a short break here at 10:30 where we're going to start our top 8 coverage.